The Paracelsus Revolution is also known as the beginning of the medical revolution. It started with Philippus Aurelius Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim, most famously known as Paracelsus, born 1493 in Einsiedeln, Switzerland. Paracelsus is known for his innovative and progressive theories concerning astrology, physiology, philosophy, and most especially alchemy, the predecessor of chemistry. Paracelsus attended numerous universities across Europe, achieving his baccalaureate in medicine in the year 1510 and his doctorate in 1516 at the University of Ferrara. Having to work side by side as a mentor while being a physician, Paracelsus was known to be an aggressive and outspoken critic in the fields of medicine and teaching. He pointed blasphemy on the methods of medicinal teachings that the universities are implementing. Paracelsus was an advocate of applying chemistry and the scientific method in the field of medicine, but to no avail, many scholars turned their heads on his proposals. Paracelsus was one of the first physicians to recognize and emphasize the use of chemicals and minerals in medical treatment. In this, many regard him as a father of synthetic chemical medicines and pharmaceutical drugs. He is also credited with the naming and discovery of zinc, calling it zinc, or pointed from the shape of its crystals. He is also said to have developed the medicine laudanum, an alcoholic tincture of opium, which was in common use until the 19th century. Paracelsus was also one of the first to use opiates as anesthetics in surgery. In his wanderings throughout Europe, Paracelsus spent a lot of time in the Alps, studying the healing and therapeutic properties of the mineral waters at many spas and hot spring resorts. Paracelsus was also working to try to upgrade the status of surgeons who were, in his day, regarded as little better than barbers. He also emphasized cleanliness and antiseptics in surgery, telling his students that if the surgeon only takes care to keep a wound from getting infected, nature will take care of the rest and heal the wound. Paracelsus picked up from his training in alchemy the principle that metals were the key elements which made up the universe. Aside from using herbal concoctions on his medications, he also used the idea of using salt, sulfur, and metals as medications. Paracelsus is said to have used special mercury preparations to treat syphilis, a bacterial infection usually spread by sexual contact. Paracelsus wrote a major medical treatise entitled On the Miner's Sickness and Other Diseases of Miners, which focused on various treatment and prevention strategies for combating silicosis and other occupational diseases of miners and metal workers. He rejected the idea that the miner's disease is a punishment for sin executed by mountain spirits, and stated that it actually resulted from inhaling metal vapors. In 1534, the town Sturzing was plague-stricken, and Paracelsus is said to have cured many persons by letting them drink a pill made of bread containing a small amount of the patient's excreta he had removed on a needlepoint. He also authored Der große Wundarznei, or the Great Surgery Book, which dealt with the complete treatment of wounds caused by piercing, shooting, burning, animal bites, bone fracture, and other injuries. Paracelsus is also commonly held to be the father of toxicology and is famous for coining the aphorism, "The dose makes the poison." In his opinion, substances that were virulent poisons in certain doses could be valuable therapeutic agents at other doses, a mode of thought that obviously inspired homeopathy, a medical system based on the belief that the body can cure itself. What challenged Paracelsus' position was the traditional view of medicinal treatment. During the Renaissance period, a large part of the academic knowledge was linked to former medicinal teachings of ancient Greece, Rome, and Egypt. Aside from deviating from traditional practices, Paracelsus also attacked medical malpractices that were popular at that time, such as infusions, worthless pills, and certain herbal treatments. As expected, some healers, especially many herbalists, hated him for introducing chemical medicines, for this takes away their traditional methods. In his rebellion against the state traditionalism of the medical educational system of his day, Paracelsus shook up the field and was a progressive voice calling for change and the influx of new ideas. He rejected the scholastic philosophy that permitted education in medicine and the sciences of his day, which revered and enshrined the books and teachings of Aristotle, Galen, Avicenna, and Averroes, and their Catholic interpreter, St. Thomas Aquinas. Paracelsus was opposed during the time by the main theory they known as Galenism, derived from the theories of Galen, stating a less intense medication will heal the disease, also known as the principle of contrariety, whereas Paracelsus argued that poison could also stand as a cure, but the dosage is very important. In 1527, when he was a professor of medicine at the University of Basel, Switzerland, he burned the books of Avicenna and Galen in front of the university. He gave lectures to ordinary citizens while wearing an alchemist's leather apron instead of an academic gown. His new methods were very controversial. He was exiled from Basel in 1538 and died in 1541 in Austria. Paracelsus opened the door for the improvement of medicine by proving that chemicals can be an essential part of the medical field. By challenging our beliefs on the traditional view of nature, his teachings paved the way for modern medicines to take place. Through him, we now have the concept of vaccines, where we use samples of viruses' RNA codes to fight off the same viruses and prevent the spread of these diseases. His idea of using metals and chemistry for medical treatment is also seen as the predecessor of our modern-day treatment, chemotherapy. He also contributed in the rise of psychiatric treatment. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung wrote of him that we see in Paracelsus not only a pioneer in the domains of chemical medicine, but also in those of an empirical psychological healing science. From this, we can see that without the arguments of Paracelsus, many treatments would not exist today.